Okay, this is week one for the 19th of September, and in this video log I'm going to be talking about the different range of exercises and that we did and what that we did and why do we do them, and I'll be talking about what how well this lesson went. So we started off with some exercises so that we could get to work with new people and getting used to everyone. And one of them was called Wink Murder, with a shake hand, walking around the room with different numbers, where each number involves doing something such as touching the floor and jumping, stopping and starting, picking an enemy and an ally, and you had to stop the enemy from getting to your ally by standing in the way. And there was an equilateral triangle where you had to pick two allies, and we had to make a triangle with the allies, with the whole class getting in the way. So when doing the 1 to 5 exercise, the first step was touch the floor with the left hand. The second step was touching the floor with the right hand. The third step was touching the floor with both hands. The fifth step was stop. The fourth was jump, and the sixth step was starting again. My course tutor said the numbers in order slowly. Then he started to say the steps in a different order. He said, I thought my thoughts were that it was quite hard. It was difficult to remember them all when doing them in a different order. So for next time, I'm going to listen for the numbers carefully and memorise the numbers, and I'm going to learn them in my own time. Then my course tutor added a step 7. He asked someone to do something, then I turned around and everyone turned. Then he added an 8. For another exercise, we did the enemy and ally, where everyone had to pick someone as an enemy and someone else as an ally, and we had to stop the enemy from reaching the ally. I picked Leah as an enemy and Jenny as an ally. It was hard because some people were picking the same enemy and an ally as me. And also some people were getting in the way. My strengths were, a lot of the time I did catch up to Jenny and Leah, but my weaknesses was there was sometimes I lost them sometimes. So my improvement is to try and catch up with them at all times. I'm going to do this by standing close to them. The third exercise was equilateral triangle, where we had to pick two allies. I chose Jenny and Coral, and the whole class had to make an equilateral triangle using the allies that we chose. And just like the last exercise, it was hard because of other people getting in the way and some other people picking the same ally as me. My strengths were, I finally made it into a triangle in the end. Also, my weakness was I was losing them a bit again. When picking an ally, I pick one to improve. I'm going to pick an ally that is standing close to me. The final exercise was Wink Murder with a handshake, and what we did was the whole class stood in a circle to each other with our eyes closed, and my course tutor picking someone to be the murderer. Everyone walked around the room in the space shaking each other's hands, but the murderer does a secret handshake by tapping someone and with their finger twice. The person who got tapped counts to 3 seconds and dies, but the others just have to keep a lookout for the murderer. If they think they know who they've seen the murderer, they shout out freeze, and then if they get it right, then the murderer dies and the class keeps on going until they find all the murderers. I thought that exercise was a bit sneaky because I didn't realise there could be more than one murderer. What I need to do to improve for next time is use some tactics. After break, we had to think of 3 moments from our past and draw them on 3 pieces of paper. then we had to get into pairs and tell each other our own memories that we drew, and write notes about it. Then we each told each other's past moments to the whole class. The 3 moments that I chose was how I managed to pass my GCSE maths when I earned some goldfish, and when I lost my ex-girlfriend. I told Jenny my moments, and she told me hers, and of her boyfriend when she first started drinking, and Phil was presenting how bad things were as she's been through. And finally we were on the floor, and we thought of a place that we been before in the past, and then we got into pairs, and each of us would imagine to enter the place we thought of. We shared us of each other this thing, everything it is. I worked with Catherine, and she imagined she was in her sister's bedroom. I thought of a holiday house that I'd been to in Denmark. My strengths were I was good remembering where everything was in the house. What I need to do to improve for next time is think of another place that I'd been before, because the holiday house was the only place I could think of. I rate this lesson a 10 out of 10 because it was good. It was a good way to get to know everyone. The 1 to 5 exercise, and that was a physical preparation. The handshake merger exercise, that was a physical preparation. And the reason why we do physical preparation and mental preparation is because they're important. Because Stanley Vasquez and other practitioners considered that actors must be physically prepared for rehearsals and performances, and that actors should do a program for daily exercise. It was also important to wake up your brain and prepare yourselves so you can have energy, focus, discipline, cooperation, and imagination. And a good way to do this is to take part in games.